Hey, Mark, have you ever heard of this Dogecoin?
Dogecoin. You're talking about that meme coin that increased 35,000% in value? All I can say is much wow. NFTs are changing the world, and change can feel complicated and scary. But listen, you don't need a computer science degree. You don't need to learn how to code. You just need practical skills to win.
If you are here, you are in the 1% of humans that are preparing for this major cultural shift. We're going to keep it fun. We're going to keep it light. We're going to make it practical. Welcome to NFTs Made Simple.
Just a reminder, we're not financial advisors. This is not financial advice, and you should do your own research.
Hey, let's get into it.
Yo, Dragon, this is going to be a fun episode because we're going to be talking about one of the most infamous cryptocurrency coins on the market, Dogecoin. And in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of walk you through the history of Dogecoin, some of the spikes, some of the valleys, and then we're going to talk about why it's so important in the market today and why Elon's purchase of Twitter is going to impact Dogecoin tremendously. It already has. So let's go back in time. Back to 2013, when Billy Marcus, an IBM software engineer, and Jackson Palmer, an Adobe software engineer, developed this new coin, Dogecoin. And when it first launched, it was worth $0.00095. It was worth basically nothing, less than a penny, much less than a penny. And the reason I think why they developed it, Bitcoin was starting to come on the scene and was interesting. But the problem with Bitcoin is that it's kind of expensive to do business with. It's also a little bit slow. So they built Dogecoin is kind of like a joke, an efficient joke, if you were, and it's built off of the meme of the Shiba Inu dog. And it's just so funny. And I think that it really captures the undercurrent of the crypto Web3 culture. But at the time it launched, nobody cared. It was a joke. It was a joke. When was the first time you heard of
I want to talk about that joke because this is NFTs Made Simple, meaning before NFTs Made Simple, right? So this was kind of like one of those moments just as a human evaluating this NFT stuff coming on in crypto and all that. Actually, I would even say that I didn't know what an NFT was back then at all, right? So I remember my dad called me up because my dad gets all excited about things, you know, and my dad called me up and he's like, hey, you got to buy some of this Dogecoin, right? And I remember this is back in the days. If you go back in the halls, we had Dr. Adam Shiner here. I told you that he pitched me on Bitcoin in 2015, right? And I said, oh, you're out of your mind. You know, that would have been Dragon becoming a gazillionaire. But I remember when Dogecoin came out, I did hear that it was a little bit of a joke. I automatically took interest in it because it was connected to Elon, because I'm a big bullish on Elon. But the best part about it was that I could spend like $100 and have like a massive amount of this coin. So I just remember that was one of my first, actually that was my first purchase of crypto, because I said, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like if this thing turns into anything. Now, I also can tell you that when I heard about Dogecoin, it was at 27 cents. That was the first time it came up on my blip. And my friend had told me that he bought it like back when it was like a shaving of a penny. And he had already accumulated. We didn't know it was about to go to like 60 cents and stuff, but he had already accumulated like $50,000 of wealth. And I said, how did you make 50 grand? How much did you invest? And he goes, $300. So yeah, I took interest.
It's just crazy. And I think what Dogecoin is showing and reflecting to the market is that a coin, a cryptocurrency, an NFT is only as valuable as its perceived market value. There's a reason why you can go to the store, give someone a $5 bill, and they're going to give you a soda and some chips, right? It's because there's perceived value of that item. And as Dogecoin has gotten more and more attention over the past decade, its perceived value is increased, again, 35,000%. 35,000. And I think, going back, the first real bump in value for Dogecoin was just a few days after it was released. It was released December 6, 2013. The first bump was just 2 weeks later on December 19th, where it increased 300%. And again, I think that the reason why this happened is because we live in this internet meme culture. There's all these like little inside jokes. There's a reason why these Reddit threads and these young kids are driving the economy. It's because they're playing. It's funny to them. And we're going to talk about Elon here in a minute, who's just, like we said, basically a big kid living his best life. But it kind of became fabled in this internet Web3 culture, this meme, this Doge, this Shiba Inu Dogecoin, which, by the way, is just, it's still so funny. Whenever I see that Shiba Inu, I have to laugh. But it's continued to kind of like sit in the background. Nobody really took it seriously. It's always been this joke. Nobody thought that you would actually be buying a car or sending a rocket to space with a Shiba Inu joke Dogecoin. Nobody thought that was possible. But things started to really move quickly. Again, we're going to fast forward from 2014 to 2021. In 2021, Dogecoin increased 800% after one day, increasing to 7 cents a coin. And this was really driven both by the GameStop short squeeze that happened in 2021, the whole GameStop issue, which we could probably record an entire episode about that. But it was also really driven by Elon. Elon going to Twitter and talking about Dogecoin, making jokes, speculating about Doge. It really drove the market forward. And I remember this happening, and frankly, and we could talk about this, it made me a little bit nervous. One of the reasons I love crypto is that it's decentralized. It's not one central bank just saying, we're going to print trillions of dollars and we're going to impact the market. But when I saw that one person could go to Twitter and completely shake up the market, that made me a little bit nervous about crypto. I don't know how you see that event, Dragon, but I think that event, January 2021, Elon and the GameStop short squeeze, I think it changed the landscaping of where crypto is and will be.
Yeah. I remember that day, and I'll call that the day that I realized that I didn't know what the hell I was doing because I didn't own any GameStop. I just hated hearing all these people. Did you see what happened to GameStop? I'm just like, I just hung up on them, But, it's an interesting thing. I'm curious as to why that it made you nervous. I guess when I saw that, here, first of all, take Dogecoin out of the equation. Look at Elon. I would be interested if I had the ability to invest in anything that he's doing. That's a guy that even if he all of a sudden starts a company that's like robbing banks for a living, he just seems like he knows what he's doing. He's a guy that knows what's coming in advance. So I'm a very big fan. And Gary Vee is the same, we can look at how stupid it would be to buy a meme coin with a Shiba Inu on it. Well, I bought a little cartoon of a dragonfly for almost $1,000. You know what I mean? So choose your stupid. But what I was doing was investing in Gary Vee. So what I love though, and the word threat comes out, I love the fact that Elon is a disruptor. And I love the power that he has because I almost feel, I don't know him, but I almost feel like he's making fun of the system. I almost feel like he's playing with everything that we hate about the centralized system. He's like you said, he's like a kid. So, he would go on Twitter, ironically using Twitter back in those days to hype his stock, or, later on, I'm sure you're going to talk about what happened with Saturday Night Live. But I started to watch that and I said, man, what I love about this is I'm already a big fan of Elon's, and I love the fact that for not a lot of money, I can play in this game here. You know what I mean? Because every time you hear the greats talk about, investing in crypto or NFTs right now, they always say, I think it's a great idea to invest, but only with the money that you can lose. throwing $300-400 at Dogecoin, knowing about all these things that you were concerned with. I love that idea. That's the very essence of gambling, So I was excited about all that stuff because I was in the game.
Well, and that's fair. And I don't want to make this, this is NFTs made simple. It's not Mark Savant's philosophical hour. But the reason why this type of thing makes me nervous is because in general, I don't trust humans. I think that's the bottom line. Humans are selfish. That's the only thing that I can really expect from a human is that they're going to do what's in their best interest. They're very rarely going to do what's within my interest. So I don't like centralized power. And even if it's someone that I like Elon, I like what he's doing. I think it's interesting. I think it's for the, in some ways for the betterment of humanity, but I don't know Elon. I don't know what's going on behind his head. And what I trust is having a good system in place, like a blockchain, like proof of stake, like proof of work, in decentralizing that, kind of like a power of the people, more libertarian minded, if you would. So anyway, that's the reason. Like, even if I like what someone's doing, even if you like, for example, what Trump is doing, you have to be nervous about some of the moves he's making. Even if you like what Biden's doing, you got to be nervous about some of the moves he's making. Regardless, across the board, 100%, I trust that humans are going to do what's best for them, not what's best for me. So again, that's kind of my backstage pass, right? But let's keep going on. Because it's been such a wild ride over the past year and a half. It's absolutely fascinating. So we're talking about this whole GameStop thing happened in January of 2021. A couple months later, March of 2021, this was a key moment. March 2021, Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, announced that his NBA team would allow you to purchase tickets and gear with Dogecoin. So as we opened up here in this episode, a cryptocurrency is only as valuable as its perceived market value and what you can actually do with it. I give you this, you give me that. And this is a huge shift because now Dogecoin goes from being a joke to I can actually buy tickets to NBA games. I can actually buy clothing with Dogecoin. And huge shift.
It also for the first time made you realize that a billionaire was taking interest in something too. When you see Elon doing something, that's one thing. But when you see, and this is how Bored Ape Yacht Clubs happen, is like when you see big players going somewhere and you know that those guys are just third degree black belts at making money, it captures your attention. So I didn't have any interest in buying tickets, but I said, Mark Cuban's not an idiot. I mean, the guy, one of his new jobs is telling people whether or not their businesses are viable or not. So when he makes a move, once again, that I would assume that that's why everybody jumped on it.
The idea that everyone jumped on is 100% accurate because just 2 months later, not even 2 months later, Dogecoin surpassed 50 cents a coin. It increased 20,000% in 12 months. 20,000%. It went from being a joke to legitimate purchasing currency. And let's be frank, everyone's trying to find that magic. But I think part of this is because billionaires started paying attention, which in turn led us to start paying attention. But it's also just solid technology. The technology that's built on, the efficiency it's built on makes sense. So May 4th, that happened. 5 days later, on May 9th, SpaceX announced a rideshare mission to the moon completely funded by Dogecoin, making it the first space mission funded by a cryptocurrency. And Elon Musk confirmed this news on Twitter. Of course, where else? On Twitter, he confirmed it. So, I mean, this is just crazy to me. In a 60-day span, you could go to the moon with Dogecoin. You could buy NBA tickets with Dogecoin. You could buy clothing with Dogecoin. You could buy food with Dogecoin. All of a sudden, it's becoming legitimized. I also wonder if there's something there. May 4th, it increases massively to 50 cents, and then 5 days later, SpaceX announces a rideshare mission. Anything going on in the background there? Any insider trading? I don't know. Maybe not.
You know what's interesting about it, And I've never been like so close to Wall Street that I know about like the inside stuff. But in this, it's almost a little cultish. You know, it's like he's like the Charles Manson of crypto, in a sense, like, because there's been situations where Elon will just put a tweet out back in those days that just insinuates that he's going on Saturday Night Live or whatever. And I just remember people going out and buying Dogecoin, my dad included, me included, saying, if Elon's going to go talk about it anywhere, it's going to grow. So we start to like evaluate his behavior, back to your concern. If Elon like even insinuates that something special is going to happen and he like barks like a dog, everybody runs and buys it. So Elon had his finger on the pulse of the world for a little while. And the scary part, so I'll join that philosophy. The scary part is that we know that there's another side to crypto, is the dumping of it. So everybody's jumping on and going for this ride. And, you know, I didn't risk a lot of money, but I know a lot of people went big and said, hey, I'm going to cash in and make millions on this next ride. And then all of a sudden, you know, something else can happen and everybody goes, hey, what the hell? So when those days were going, I remember I was talking to my dad and I was like, Dad, you know, like, hey, this is fun, but let's be real. Like, this is not going to continue to happen, right? But a lot of people were like, oh, I remember people were predicting that it was going to go up to $1 and all that stuff. And, you know, crazy time.
And I certainly still could. But I also think we're so early in this cryptocurrency game that huge fluctuations, I think, are part of the course. Because what's going to happen probably 10 years from now is there's not going to be 1,000 cryptos. There's probably going to be like 5 to 10. Like, this is the crypto you want: gold, silver, etc. But right now we're in this kind of like this Wild West moment, this gold rush, this crypto rush, where nobody knows what's going to go. I was talking to someone the other day who was very confident that Bitcoin was going to zero. I don't think that that's going to happen, but it could.
I'll buy a ton of it at zero.
Yeah, right.
Hey, what's up? Mark here. Just want to take you on a quick break with a resource I think is really going to help you. Some of the concepts that we're covering in the show sound really complicated and really technical. But listen, you don't need to code. You don't need to get a master's degree in computer science. All you need to do is have the right resources. We're going to make it simple. We're going to make it easy. I've got a link below. Go to www.nftsmadesimple.com. That's nftsmadesimple.com. You're going to get a free cheat sheet there. It's 100% free. What are you waiting for? Go get the cheat sheet. We're going to break down some of the key definitions in ways that are really practical and really simple. Go to nftsmadesimple.com right now to get your free cheat sheet. That's nftsmadesimple.com. All right, let's get back into the show.
So let's keep, I want to talk about the next big thing that happened. And then let's talk about Twitter. Let's talk about Twitter. Let's talk about Elon Musk buying Twitter, because I think there's a lot of significant implications there. So SpaceX announced a rideshare mission on May 9th of 2021. And then several months later in January of 2022, Tesla announced they're going to be accepting Dogecoin as payments for Tesla products. Tesla is now accepting Dogecoin. So now you've got a lot of stuff you can do with Doge. You can do a lot of stuff with that Dogecoin. It becomes super interesting. And then the most recent thing that's happened, the most recent impact is Elon Musk purchasing Twitter. Pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. And Dogecoin's price actually doubled when he closed. It was trading on October 27th for 7 cents. And then 5 days later, it went to 16 cents. That was after the purchase of Twitter had gone through. So now we get to play kind of some speculation and kind of look at what Doge's impact on the market's going to be now that Elon owns Twitter. Elon has announced that you're going to be able to make purchases on Twitter using Doge. We've got the Twitter Blue, and Twitter actually filed And he's got this idea that he wants Twitter to become a super app that does video chats, messaging, streaming, and payments. He wants it to become a payment platform. And we can only imagine that Dogecoin is going to play a major part in those transactions.
You know what's interesting about that, and this is back to that playful, childlike person that we're evaluating, is if you really evaluate what he does, is he's playing with emotions. He's throwing things high and then he's taking them down. Like, I'll give you an example. He'll say something that will insinuate that Dogecoin is going to be massive because of Twitter, and he's going to the subscription base. And then he's talking about all these other things, these, making it like a WeChat in China. I don't know if you know what WeChat is, but I do business in Asia, and WeChat is like, you can do anything with it. So probably something we should be keeping our eye on, by the way. But at the same time, he'll also say, but understand that bankruptcy is a definite reality. So he's like the master of the takeaway as well. So I don't, it's interesting if you look at that, because like Elon has this ability to talk about like how astronomical things could be, but then at the same time and say, but we could all die tomorrow from AI. So what I find interesting about the culture of crypto, and I'm involved in it, and I think this is why you're seeing the ups and the downs. If you think about it, where we're hoping crypto goes, for those that love decentralization and also just want to be around for the big show, we're waiting for crypto to actually become a staple currency of something, meaning something that everybody's using and there's nothing else they can do but use crypto. So if you think about it, you want to own that cryptocurrency, whichever one locks that up. So I think Elon is just really, really good at insinuating that he's figured that out. So, he makes the announcements of Tesla. Cuban comes in and talks about it. So it's like you see the sequence of events, and then Twitter, and everybody kind of like gravitates saying, I think it's going to be Dogecoin, right? Bitcoin's got all these other followers, but if you're there when something like shopping at the grocery store becomes something you can only do with a cryptocurrency, and it's Dogecoin, and you own Dogecoin, everything in your life changes. So I think that's what Elon is probably consciously doing in a manipulative way, is bringing people along and showing them signs that this joke coin could actually be the staple cryptocurrency that everybody will use.
It's like he's like the ultimate troll. He's like a troll on steroids,
Totally.
right? Which is, I think, smart. It positions him to really appeal to the young generation, because that's what kids do. I know when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was like just joke around all the time, and so it's a really powerful way of handling that. But I think there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes too, and this might be an entirely different episode. But one of the big challenges that we have in the crypto market, the NFT markets, is there's a lack of clear government oversight. It's like the Wild West right now. We don't know how the government is going to regulate cryptocurrency. We just don't. There's a lot of speculation. And when you put the most powerful entities in the world, the governments, up against the most powerful individuals and entrepreneurs and social media experts and basically the richest people in the world, and they butt heads together, we don't know exactly how that's going to turn out. We don't know the conversations that are being had in back rooms. And so again, it's just so interesting to me. In my mind, there's no way that cryptocurrencies and blockchain are going to be going away. But there is a big question about who's going to win. Which cryptocurrencies are actually going to matter in 5 years and in 10 years?
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's just so ironic and hilarious that Dogecoin is one of the front runners right now. What started out as a giant joke has now become one of the most valuable cryptocurrencies on planet Earth. It's just amazing. You can literally go to the moon with Dogecoin.
And
much wow.
I mean, I just want to, because, Mark always makes sure that people are reminded that We're not, financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. We're just two dads that are probably just trying to make sure that when we die, our kids have tons of money. That's probably our biggest interest. But if you're listening to this episode, because I was just listening to you talk, you just made an insinuation of something that might be, and also talking about it, saying it's kind of silly, and it's kind of silly that this joke coin could be, that is considered a front runner. So the person that hears that has not really decided to play a big game or is playing a big game, they go look in their Coinbase and they go, 9 cents? I'll throw $300 at that right now, just in case I could lose the $300. So what you just experienced right there from Mark Savant, who is an influencer, is what you just experienced right there from Mark Savant, who is an influencer, is just, if an idea pops in your head and it's such a low investment, you say, screw it, and you do it. But if millions of people do that at the same time, what happens is you start to see a trend, and then boom, it's like a fire and everybody comes to look at it. And unconsciously, you find out later that, like, Elon Musk called Mark up and said, hey, Mark, say this on your show, right? Or something like that. And you don't understand that another piece of this game, another way to make money off of crypto, is when the big boys that own it all sell it before it goes down. So that's why you shouldn't, I'm not saying be scared. I'm in and I'm not selling anything, and I hope that when it goes up to the top that it'll ever be, I'll have the smarts to sell it then. But you got to understand that there's two sides to this Dogecoin or this crypto game and everything. What excites me the most, because we always talk about positive trends, what excites me the most is the one thing, Mark, that I can see that's coming, whether we like it or not, is, and we'll talk about this on another episode, is the metaverse. The metaverse is going to happen. We are very close to people becoming actual citizens of the metaverse, living there. And one thing I can tell you for sure is there's only one currency that works in the metaverse. So the reason why I'm bullish on NFTs and crypto, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know that when that happens, the metaverse, that's when you're going to see, I don't know who the major players are, right? That's the game. But that's why I am very excited about the next season and the next season and the next season. I wish I could push a button, Mark, and go listen to an NFTs Made Simple episode in 2026.
Yeah.
Think about the insane things that we'll be talking about.
Yeah. And this episode, we really wanted to talk about Dogecoin because it's just such an interesting crypto. But to your point, highly, highly, highly volatile. There are many cryptocurrencies that are going to zero, period. So you definitely don't want to bet your lunch on it. We didn't even get, in it, I think in a future episode, we're going to talk about the bankruptcy of FTX, one of the largest crypto trading platforms. I think that's important to keep in mind too. So we'll talk about that in later episode. In the meantime, let us know your thoughts. I'm Mark Savant. This is my man, JC Dragon. And we want to hear from you. What do you think about Elon? What do you think about Dogecoin? Is it going to the moon or not? Hit us up with an email, nftmadesimple@gmail.com. nftmadesimple@gmail.com. Hit us up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing.
Peace out.
To the moon. Much wow. Peace.